His name is Evariste Galois. Now, here's a very tragic story. I don't know if I told you guys about him. This guy, he died before he was 21 years old. Uh, this is post-Napoleon French France. He falls in love with a married woman. Of course, in the French high society, it was normal married woman to have lovers. But the woman already had one lover, so he was to be the second lover. He's jealous of the first lover, so he invites him into a duel. He loses. But the night before the duel, he pretty much thinks that, the only thing I know how to do is math. So he figures he could die. He writes down everything he has done until then. He hasn't published anything at that point. And he tells his brother, if I die, take all of this and send it to Augustin Cauchy. He was the giant of the French math those days. And of course, he dies. Cauchy gets it and says, are you fucking kidding me? I haven't seen anything like that before. One of the things that he proves, we have a formula for finding the real or complex roots of a quadratic, right? The so-called discriminant formula. You may not know the formula, but we have a formula for cubics. These are polynomials with x to the power 3 as the highest power, and quartics as well, x to the power 4. Galois proves that for a general polynomial that is degree 5 or higher, which means highest power in the polynomial is 5 or more, it is impossible to come up with a general formula in terms of regular functions. Doesn't mean you cannot solve individual polynomials. It is impossible to come up with a general formula. And he uses the ideas of groups and stuff. And these days, if any of you are into things like string theory, you cannot do string theory without the Galois concept of groups, abelian groups. All right. So let's do some inverse operations on this algebra. Okay. Inverse means you basically, multiplication is an operation, right? 2 times 3. What is division? It's inverse. Right now, if I tell you the present, the inputs, you can tell me the present value, right? What if I told you what the present value is and ask one of the inputs? That's essentially inverting the process. Example, okay, you decided you liked a certain car, and that car is worth $30,000, okay? So that's my target present value. I can borrow at 449. I'm going to do monthly payments. Hey, for the hell of it, I'm going to make 2 payments a month. And I want to do a 7-year loan and no balloon payments. Usually, car loans don't have that. They should, but they don't. Because at the end of 7 years, that car still has some value. In fact, the way they calculate lease payments, they just kind of estimate what the value of the car will be at the end of 7 years. They think of that as a balloon payment. That's why lease cars are cheaper than bought cars. I don't know the payment yet. If it is 500 a month, that's 72,000, right? So that's too much. How about 250? That's too much too. 150. That's too little. 200. Too much. Uh, Too little. You can Now I know that it's somewhere between 200 and 225. Okay. I bracketed the solution. Once you have a bracket and a solution, even the ancient Babylonians knew how to do this. If the function is continuous, you know that there exists a solution in that interval. If you remember anything from your pre-calc days, if you took one, and that's called mean value theorem or intermediate value theorem. Doesn't matter. I could basically find the midpoint of that interval, try that, then figure out where it lives. You can hunt that solution like a scared little rabbit because you already bracketed it, all right? But that is not a very civilized way of doing things. Instead, I'm going to use Excel to do the following. Under Data tab, there's a little item called What If Analysis. Click on that. There are other things you can do too, but what you want to do is to do a goal seek. Now, unfortunately, I can't make that any bigger. When you get a goal seek dialog box, the first argument is the formula that contains your output, or the cell that contains your output formula. That's the one, okay? And that cell has to contain a formula. It cannot be just a simple number. The second one has to be a number that you're going to enter. Actually, there's the reason I did this difference. Okay, let me first do it the pedestrian way. My car is worth 30,000. So I want that cell to say 30,000. Right now it doesn't. How am I going to do that? By changing what I don't know, the payment. And that cell has to cannot have a formula in it. It has to have just numbers. Done. So the answer is 208.27, right? The reason I call the way I did it pedestrian, if I change the present value, then I'm going to have to write another number in there. But I created this cell on purpose, the difference between the present value and the target present value. I want to make that 0. So let's change. I'm going to get a little bit greedy. I'm going to put some stuff on that car. So now it's going to be 40,000 car. Now let's do our goal seek again. This time I want to make that cell, the difference cell, 0. By doing what? By changing. Can't find a solution. Let's start with 300. Oh, thank you. Well, undo, 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 undo. Control Z undoes whatever you have done last. And you can do it a few times. Thank you. So target is 40,000. See, when that cell does not contain a formula, because normally payment, there is actually an exact formula for payment. So it should always find that. Thank you. So I'm going to make 277.69, in this case, every 15 days or so, because I decided to pay monthly, bi-monthly. Let's multiply that by 2 and let me show you. That's how much you're going to pay if you make 2 payments a month. Now let's change this to 12. So let's find out the monthly payments. I'm going to do exact same thing. Go seek. Make sure that you mark the proper cell. Make that 0 by changing what I don't know. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, but it was 277 something, right? You pay a little bit less per month when you make more payments. That kind of makes sense because that means on average you're paying earlier. You know, present value of that is higher. All right, well, let's do something with the future value. Okay, let's say I'm 20 years old and I want to retire as soon as I have $3 million in my account. How long is that going to take me? That's a valid question, right? So first and foremost, I'm going to calculate something in the future. So let's go to future value mode. Let's say I can earn 8%, and let's say I can save $500 a month monthly. I don't know how long yet, and my target future value is 3 million. So I'm going to do data, what if analysis, goal seek, make that difference zero by changing length of time. So if I can earn only 8%, I'm going to have to wait until I'm pretty much almost 67. Okay. If I don't like that, I'm going to have to take more risk. Let's do 12. Data, what if analysis, goal seek, zero by changing how long. So that's shaved me about 12 years. Now I can retire before I'm double nickel, okay? Which is fancy talk for 55. That's where I declare middle age starts. When I was your age, I thought 60 was old. Not anymore. Me being 60 right now. But even when I was 55, I said, okay, this ain't too bad. See how easy some of the stuff has been? In fact, there is no closed form solution for what we have done. There is actually a function called MPER. It allows you to do it, but somewhat uh, that would require you essentially do 8 different templates. Basically, we used only one region on our screen and we took care of the rest using GoSeek. On that bonus lecture I'm going to give you guys, even that portion is going to be made automatic. You can do it in such a way that